It is Friday, April 17th, 2026. This is another edition of Baseball Today. It is presented to you by T-Mobile. That is not my man, Trevor Plouffe. That is my dude, Dalton Feely. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan along for the ride as well. Dalty, thanks for helping us out today. Do you even know what Plouffe's doing today?
I do. I do. I believe he's hitting the links with a friend named Matthew, potentially. I think that's the
Yeah,
rumor on the street. So
yeah.
I told him, go break a leg, shoot a 60, and, win the whole thing.
Well, he'll only shoot 60 if he stops playing after 13 holes. So that's probably not going to happen. It's not just going out with a couple of buddies. This is a special tournament, hoity-toity one at that. But yeah, it is with a man named Matthew. So we'll have him back here on Monday. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Got a lot to get to. We'll look ahead to the weekend, look back at what's transpired the last few days, but we start with our tip of the cap, and it goes to a guy who came up clutch on the South Side.
And a fly ball back into left field, pretty well tagged. That's got a chance. Gone.
I'm very, very sad in that moment because my mom's birthday today, and I'm telling before the game, I hit a home run for you, mom, and yeah, I did it, mom. I love you so much, and God bless you.
Thataway, Junior Caminero. I talked to you before the game. It's your birthday. I promised to hit you a home run. I love it when kids keep their words for their parents.
And not only did he keep his word to his mom, it was a game-tying solo shot in the ninth inning, which helped elevate the Rays get a sweep here. So not only was he doing it for his mom, that was a big home run for the Tampa Bay Rays. But that's such a cool moment. You say to your mom, hey, I'm going to hit a home run for you. And guess what? He did it in the biggest moment possible.
Thataway, Junior. Keep doing your thing. Of course, Junior Caminero came over to Tampa Bay via a trade from the Cleveland Guardians, who almost made a little bit of history on Thursday night.
Pitches. And a one-hopper to short. Rocchio, quick release. Got him! 3 more outs to go. Pitch. Ground ball. Base hit. Well, that ends the mystery.
It certainly does.
Yeah, Parker Messick in just his 11th big league start took a no-hitter into the ninth, couldn't close the deal. In fact, the Guardians couldn't even close the shutout. They hung on by the skin of their teeth. 4-2 winners over the Baltimore Orioles. Did you think he was going to get it?
I didn't. And so, first off, ironically, Rose, when we were at the warehouse this past weekend, there was one guy that we really talked about for the Guardians and how well they're doing, Parker Messick. So it's very funny that on a show I'm filling in for Trevin, Parker Messick almost throws a no-hitter for your Cleveland Guardians. That would have been awesome. Would have been fate even. But I was watching this game. I was watching with my dad. I was working on Talking Baseball, prepping to the show for their show today. And Parker Messick was just dealing. I mean, he was super efficient. 59 pitches through 5. He was cruising. I didn't think he was going to get it because A, Cleveland just doesn't throw no hitters. Sorry, Rosie. But B, he was kind of working a little bit harder in the 6th, 7th, and 8th. I think he threw like 40-something pitches in those 3 innings. Baltimore made him work a little bit more later in the game. So I didn't think he was going to get there. That said, it was awesome. He was super dominant. And for some reason, the Orioles find a way to not only attempt to break up a no-hitter, but almost win those games. I believe last year it was Yamamoto who had a no-hitter through 8 2/3. Baltimore hits a homer and then ends up winning that game too. So as Yogi Berra once said, it was almost deja vu all over again. But alas, Parker Messick deals. Cade Smith does get the job done. Cleveland wins. Shout out Parker Messick. What an outing for Cleveland.
Yeah, he's been phenomenal in his 3 starts, which I believe have been against the Dodgers, the Orioles, the Braves. Maybe he had one other one thrown in there, but he's what's that? I think maybe the Cubs. You're right. Yeah. But he's been great. He has been so good. An ERA just a smidge over 1. Really dependable, mid-90s fastball, outstanding changeup. And our buddy Austin Hedges, whom I talked to earlier on Thursday because he's going to be our latest addition to Dugout Discussions behind the plate. He's a master back there, a wizard. Here's why I thought it was going to happen, because I wasn't going to be home to see it. And you know how crazy baseball fans can get. I had a little bit of work to do at NFL Network, which is about 20 miles from my house. I get in my car at about 4 o'clock local time. So I put the game on while I'm driving, and I notice, boy, one team doesn't have any hits. I get to this part of the drive where I have to kind of get off the freeway and use the back roads, but I totally lose connection. I will not be able to listen to the game or see the game or anything else. I was like, "Oh my god." And it's the 8th inning. I was like, "I'm gonna get stuck in traffic and not be able." So I have to call Michelle. I was like, "I need you to do me a favor." So she puts the TV on and she's like, "You want me to pause it?" I said, "No, I want you to do play-by-play." And when that started happening, I was like, "Okay, I'm going to end up in my car for the Guardians' first no-hitter since 1981 when large Lenny Barker threw a perfect game on May 15th against the Toronto Blue Jays." So somehow Orioles ended up making a pitching change. The Guardians got a guy on. I ended up getting home for it. And what is the first thing I see? A 9th inning base hit by Tavares.
Cutter over the middle of the plate. First pitch of the 9th inning. Rosie, I'm sorry. That would have been awesome for you. That
would have been nice.
So cool. How did Michelle end up doing the play-by-play? Was it like top tier? Would she been like the best broadcaster, you think?
Well, probably not. She's not going to take Joe Davis's Fox job anytime soon. But I thought she did, or Benetti on Sunday Night Baseball. But I thought she handled herself very, very well. She's like, "Oh, he might walk." She's like, "Juan Brito might walk." Is that how you say his last name? I was like, "Yeah, honey, you nailed it. Good job."
Boom.
Yeah. All I could do is it takes me back to my childhood with Lenny Barker in 1981. And watching that game, I think I came home from dinner that night and I was watching the game with my brother. I was like, "I don't think he's given up any hits." He's like, "Shut up, you moron. You can't mention that stuff." So that was like the first time I heard of the jinx. And then when Rick Manning caught the ball in center field to conclude the game, and I was like, "Man, this stuff's awesome. It happens all the time." Well, we haven't had one since. It's been 45 years. And it's the longest drought in baseball. It's the 4th longest drought in baseball history going between no-hitters. There you go, Rick Manning. Go squeeze that thing. Now let's test your knowledge here, my man. What basketball executive started that game for the Toronto Blue Jays? Not as the starting pitcher, but he was in the starting lineup.
I know 2 sports pretty well. I could say it's baseball and football. Basketball executive. Oh man, Rosie, I think you stumped me. I think it's 1-0 Rosie on the scoreboard here.
You know the name Danny Ainge?
Oh yeah. Okay, Celtic.
Hmm?
Okay. Wow. Where was he playing in that game?
I think he started at third base, maybe. It's pretty incredible.
That's awesome.
That he made the NBA where he was a multi-time world champion with the Celtics. And he was a solid enough baseball player to make the bigs. It's pretty incredible, actually.
That's amazing. I had no idea he was a baseball player. I guess it wasn't incredible on that night. Shout out Cleveland.
Yeah, nobody was. And the guy who made the last out was Ernie Witt, the Blue Jays' longtime catcher, who, of course, has been the only manager for Team Canada in World Baseball Classic history, if you know that name. So that's the way that goes. Do you think we're going to have a no-hitter? We didn't have any last year. I'll set the over-under for no-hitters this year at 0.5. Taking the over or the under?
I'm taking the over. It's going to happen this year. I think there were a couple instances last year. I'm like, I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen, and it didn't. Trev has said this prediction before, but I'm in love with it, so I'm just going to copy him. Christopher Sanchez is throwing one this year. So his stuff is super, super, super electric and elite. He's striking out more batters than he has. He's still getting that weak contact. I think somehow, some way, one of these starts, Christopher Sanchez, he's an innings eater to begin with. He gets a lot of ground balls. I think he's going to be the guy to get it. So not only am I going to say we're taking the over, I'm giving you the guy. Shout out Trev if it happens too, because he said it first, and I'm just jumping on the bandwagon for it because I think it's going to happen.
I won't ever pick a ground ball pitcher because ground balls can find holes so easily. So okay. Even though he's got really good stuff, I need strikeout fly ball pitchers, but
sure,
I'd love it. I want to see it. I will admit this. There was a little bit of me as Messick's pitch count was getting up, where as a fan, I was like, just give up a hit so we don't have to have you throw 123 pitches and start 4 or 5 of the year or whatever it is. Right. So, which is a terrible way to think as a baseball fan. We have now been conditioned to the point where, my God, these guys' pitch counts, they get too high. It's horrible. It's absolutely, it's a bad way to root, Shame on me.
Rosie, would there have been a certain number where you think Willis and Vogt would have been like, even if he was still battling here through a no-hitter, they would have taken him out?
Yeah, probably 125.
Yeah, because I think he was at 106 to enter the inning. So if he had a couple walks in there, you would have pulled him.
I was surprised that after the hit that they didn't pull him, to be honest with you.
I thought so too. My only thought was maybe Cade Smith wasn't hot yet and they wanted to stall for him, give him a little bit more time to get 100% ready. But that's the only thing I could think of.
I'll tell you what, Cade Smith hasn't been good. Hasn't been this year is good. Yeah, I think he's given up a run in virtually every appearance that he's had. Rough go for him.
Yeah.
Rough go. All right, baseball. It's a story told across generations through the players, the moments, and the gloves. Yes, the gloves that shaped the game. Now the story comes to life in Rawlings, the finest in the field book. It is available now for sale on rawlings.com. The oversized hardcover book showcases 50 gloves drawn from Rawlings' unmatched product portfolio, worn by some of the most influential baseball players in MLB history. Each of the featured gloves is presented through detailed photography, paired with immersive essays that place the artifact within its historical context. Captivating imagery, period advertisements, additional memorabilia further illuminates the era each glove represents. Now get your copy of the finest in the field book today on rawlings.com. Experience baseball's evolution as told through the story of these iconic gloves. You ever seen some of those old gloves up close?
I have. I believe Cooperstown I did back in high school when we played up there my junior year. And the other way I see it is through the We Got Ice shorts that Jack Doyle dresses up as like an old-time baseball player and has all the different gloves.
Yeah, the gloves are great, dude. So, and nobody joke, nobody write in the comments, Rose, that's what you used in Little League. I will not stand for that ageism. And I won't sit for it either. Thank you. In the meantime, Tigers and Royals, they played a wild one, back and forth, dodging rain delays, and it concluded something like this.
Right side, base hit. Green around third. Caglione as a cannon. The throw, not in time. It was well worth the wait. 10-9, your final.
Tiger fans, I know this already, and you know this, how fortunate you are that Jason Benetti calls your games. He is such a badass, isn't he?
He's the best announcer in baseball, in my opinion. I love him so much. I'm very happy he does the NBC games.
Yeah, I would like to see them get a consistent analyst. Some of the stuff has worked with guys, you know, that they try to fit in each week, but then last week you'll get like Corey Kluber doesn't open his mouth and Andrew Jones. It's not their fault. Those guys are not regular game announcers. Like, I get it if you get regular game announcers who can blend in. People don't realize how hard it is when you have not worked with people before, how hard it is to get that symmetry. And Benetti does his best. I mean, he does a great job of trying to weave in and out stories and also getting opinions. And, you know, they have the perfect guy for the job. It is a challenge. And I think eventually, I think in year 2, you'll see somebody on a more consistent basis, is my guess.
Yeah, they have to do that.
But that's not what this topic is about. It's about the Tigers, in part, because they've won 6 straight, and they're an impressive 8-1 at home. How many teams in that American League Central, in your opinion, have a legit shot at winning the division?
So, I want to say 2 to 3, but I'm going to say 2. I'm going to be a little bit more strict with my AL Central unbiased. You know, at Baseball Today, Rosie, it's you and Plouffe. A lot of AL Central guys. I, unfortunately, am not one of those people. That said, it's been an impressive start for at least 3 of these teams within the Twins, the Guardians, and the Tigers, both you and Plouffe's teams, which is awesome. White Sox, respectfully, it's not your year. You're rebuilding, so you're out. Twins, best run differential in baseball this year. Taj Bradley's been amazing. The whole lineup is doing like a decent, like just enough. They're ranked 3rd in home runs, and even though no guy has more than 3 home runs, all that's great. But the expectations going into the year for the Twins were so low. I need to see a larger sample size before I actually buy in on the Twins in 2026. So they're kind of out as well. Guardians, they're in. Rosie, like they're gonna fight the whole way through. There might be some ups and downs. I know you've had some stresses watching Cleveland baseball, but Guards ball always finds a way to at least be in the discussion. 3rd most wins in baseball since 2013, the start of 2013. They're always going to be fighting. So now the other 2 teams, I'm like, all right, who do I want to put up against Cleveland right now? It's between Detroit and Kansas City, and I do think it's Detroit. I have a little bit of a rant about Kansas City right now. So Detroit, like their one big concern is lineup, that having that stud, having that thumper in the mix with McGonigal, Green, Torque, Carpenter. And the bullpen's been good. The rotation, you got Skubal and Valdez. I think they're going to find a way and be really good again. The Royals, man, like they have been so frustrating to watch, Rosie. They get swept by the Tigers, but this lineup has been awful. There have been two teams, Rosie, to score 2 runs or less in double-digit games this year. The Mets and the Royals, both of which not in a good spot right now for the AL Central. Vinny Pasquantino, Salvador Perez, Jonathan India, all batting under 175. Bobby Witt Jr. doesn't have a home run yet. Like this Royals lineup has not gotten a way to score runs consistently. And for right now, with them being 4 games out, 7-12, I don't want to put them in this playoff discussion because quite frankly, this lineup hasn't proven to be able to put themselves in that topic.
I would say 3. I know that even though the Twins are atop the division, I think that their bullpen, what they did by decimating it last year at the trade deadline, that's going to be the area where it's going to hurt them the most. And I know that Trevor said, well, that's the part of the team that you can fix. Well, I'm not so sure that they're going to pay the money to fix it, to take on salaries if that's what you need to do. Now, I know that you could get younger guys, who maybe don't cost much at the trade deadline, but I don't know if that's going to happen. So they have a bunch of guys, Duran, Griffin Jacks, Louis Varlin, all those guys would have still been under control. I made that point earlier this week that they could have been helping the Twins this year. As it is, they ended up getting some guys, right? Taj Bradley would not be in that rotation if not for the Griffin Jacks deal. So I understand all of that. But I just think when you give up that much experience in your bullpen, any bullpen can go on a good run for 3 weeks. Do you have it in you to make it every day when your arm's dragging and it's early August? That's when it will show its warts. So I'm worried about Minnesota being able to do that for 6 months. The Kansas City Royals have shocked the shit out of me. I do not get it at all. I thought that they were the team that could push Detroit the most. I have the Tigers winning the division. I still do. Yeah. I mean, it's not just that Bobby Witt hasn't hit a home run. It's that he and Caglione and Vinny, who just got his first yesterday, have combined for 2. Like, we're 3 weeks in. Let's get it going a little bit, guys. And maybe with the weather starting to warm up, that will change things. But that team is talented enough to go toe-to-toe with Detroit. And I would be disappointed if this team just kind of was meh and finished 500-ish.
Yeah, and the rotation has been awesome. Like Michael Wacha has rejuvenated himself yet again. He's been amazing. Lugo's been good. And this is without Reagan's got banged up in his last start, but this rotation could be one of the best in baseball. The other part of the Royals discussion, Rosie, is this bullpen. I think they're second to last in ERA and WHIP so far in this early portion of the season. That's a problem. Carlos Estevez gets hurt on the IL. Lucas Ursig has his bad outing yesterday to blow the save and try to avoid the sweep. So it's only really the rotation that's kind of holding them afloat at 7-12. Holding them afloat at 7-12. That's an issue. And I think the lineup will start to go. It just has done nothing yet to give me some positivity.
Yeah, and I know that people will say, well, what about your plucky little guards whose hats you're wearing today? Well, somehow they'll hang in this thing. I love them dearly. I root for them every day. I watch them religiously. I do not know how they win games.
Guards ball, Rosie. You know how it is.
Dalton, don't even start with that. That is not a real thing. It's not a real thing. Relying on other teams screwing up and having tiny exit velocity is not a strategy. That's a result of you not paying enough money for really good players.
You don't screw, but you guys screw up less.
But really, that's a strategy? Screw up less than the other team? That is not a strategy.
It's not a great strategy, but it's worked.
It really is incredible. I love him. And I will go on the record as saying I'm a little worried about Cade Smith just because he's been worked so hard over the last couple of years, so hard. And now I don't know if he's tipping because guys are squaring him up like I haven't seen it before, but it's something to keep our eyes on.
Yeah.
In the meantime, let's head from the north end of Ohio down to the southwest corner of it. What a crazy last few days we had between the Reds and the Giants. And it actually dates back to Wednesday night. JT Brubaker was on the mound for San Francisco. Spencer Steer's in the batter's box. We get a late time call. Umpire grants Steer time. Brubaker's not happy. He's huffing and puffing. He's like, what's going on? Why are you doing this? Well, Spencer Steer then is like, yo, dude, chill out. And you can say, throw the effing ball. Just throw the effing ball. Next pitch, Steer lines it in the left. Well, apparently this social media clip made it to the Giants clubhouse because here's what transpired on Thursday.
Pitch to Spencer Steer, drilled him. Boy, Spencer doesn't like that. First pitch got him.
I'm going to tell you right now, Willie Adames better get every bit of equipment that he can find, because he's going to get a 98-mile-an-hour heater somewhere on his body. You can book it.
And obviously, JT had the little kind of fracas with Spencer Steer yesterday. You hit him in his first at-bat. Just, what happened on that fastball? Flip.
Whoever's manning the video, now Adames gets hit, and now Adames is thinking that's on purpose, and I'm sure it is.
Without a doubt.
Miller throws. He got him with the fastball. And some emotion from Eric Miller. Big time. And now Stewart and Miller's pointing at all the Reds. Here comes the Reds bench.
Yeah, I mean, I was just fired up. Probably let the emotions get the best of me. I mean, I'm not trying to direct anything specifically to him. I have no problem with him.
Struck out and came down the mound and was looking at me and pointing at me and just yelling. So tempers flared, things happened, and it's all good. I'm not gonna make light into that. We won the series, and things happen,
All right, a lot to unpack here. You heard from, in order, Landon Roop, who said the ball slipped. Wink, wink. You heard from Miller, who went after Sal Stewart. You heard from Sal Stewart as well. How big a deal is this whole thing?
Maybe the sparks the Giants. I mean, they have just been awful offensively, so their pitchers might have just gone out there and be like, hey, we need a spark plug. I don't know. I will say, let's going chronologically, that was intentional. You could see the slight smile from Landon when he said, the ball just slipped. He threw 2 four-seam fastballs in the entire game via Baseball Savant and StatCast. One of those was the pitch that Spencer Steer got hit on in the second inning. So very suspicious. I get it. I will say with the Willie Adames being hit, if Connor Phillips had hit him on the first pitch, maybe he doesn't get ejected from the game. It was a retaliation. You miss him on the first try, strike 2, I guess you're out. It's very interesting because he did the one right thing. If you're gonna get someone back, the unspoken rule is you plunk them low, and that's exactly what he does. He hits Willie Adames in the thigh. The Eric Miller stuff, I think that's nothing. I think it's handled really well by both of these guys after the entire, not brawl, but benches clearing is the term I'm looking for. Eric Miller comes out and says, yeah, you know what? I was celebrating. I shouldn't have done what I did. Basically, I didn't mean to show him up. I wasn't trying to be specific at Sal Stewart, but he was pumped. The Giants have struggled. They're avoiding being swept in Cincinnati. Things have not gone right for them. So I think in the long run between these two teams, I don't think anything's going to boil over for the next time they play. I think it's actually more internally for the Giants to try and get them going for 2026 because it hasn't been working for Tony Vitello and his club yet.
First of all, I wish just one time a pitcher like Landon Roop would come out, and he was great yesterday. I mean, he was the biggest reason why they won that game. Mm-hmm. Just once he'd be like, yeah, that ball didn't slip. That motherfucker pissed us off. We saw the clip. Just once. Somebody take some truth serum. The team can cover your fine. Somebody, you might even get suspended. I get it. I come from the honesty world. Just come out and say what happened. Just one time. Well, I would have a lot more respect. I would say instead of sitting there and smirking like it slipped. We're all sitting there no, it didn't.
No.
Just one time. I want to hear somebody say, yeah, I was pissed off. And you know what? I'm going to protect my teammates' back. I'd be like, hell yes, Landon Roop. I'm going to go buy your jersey when you say stuff like that. I'm in. By the way, here's the worst part about this. Sometimes when you play a team outside of your division this early in the season, there's a quick turnaround. We get to see them again in 10 days. Do you know the next time these two teams play their final series?
I don't, but I'm going to try and read the room here. Since you say quick turnaround, I'm going to complete opposite. I'm going to say September.
Well, you're close. It's August 24th.
Okay.
So by then, some of these guys might be traded.
Right.
You never know. The teams could look entirely different. So you always are curious to see if there's any, carryover. You'd love it if it didn't happen on the last game of the series because then it gives you some other talking point. Now, I'm not all for guys getting hit by baseballs. I think it's the most immature thing that we do in this sport. Guys get mad, they get their feelings hurt, and so somebody has to throw a baseball at somebody else. Imagine that the major leaguers were actually a class full of kindergartners, and you tried to explain, hey, little Billy, it's not okay to throw something at Timmy, but use your words instead. Like, it's ridiculous. Just think of the whole premise. I'm mad that somebody took time and was granted time by an umpire. So I'm really mad at the umpire. But because the guy who took time now steps into the batter's box and he's mad at you by saying, just throw the ball, MFer. And now because somebody shows it to you on their TikTok reels, now you're angry and you're going to throw the first pitch at him. How ridiculous does that sound?
You know what? I'll say it, Rosie. That does sound a little ridiculous.
It's insanity. Think of why everybody's so upset. Now, the big picture is they did ask Tony Vitello, is this the sort of thing that can switch your season around? And to me, the answer is that's not what's going to switch your season around. You know what's going to do it? Rafael Devers putting some goddamn balls in the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's going to change your season. How about this weekend and you win a series at Washington, which I know has actually played pretty good ball the first 3 weeks of the season. But out of all the teams that are on your schedule, that's not a giant killer. Because you know who's coming to town next Monday? The Los Angeles Dodgers. So get your wins this weekend. See if you can get closer back to 500. Fine. If you want to say this was a galvanizing moment for the Giants, great. Start winning some damn games, man.
Absolutely. Rosie, they rank last in home runs. They rank last in runs. They rank last in walks. The offense has been non-existent for the Giants. Devers and Ramos have, I think, sub 600 OPSs. They got to go. And if this sparks them, we'll see. I don't know, but they needed something, Rosie. And I don't know if the Giants retaliated or did everything they did on Thursday to create a spark plug for this team. They need something, and I guess this is a date to circle and look back to in a month or so and see if the Giants actually end up bouncing back.
Can I give an announcer tip of the cap to former Reds reliever Jeff Brantley, who said Willy Adames better armor up because he's about to get 98? He nailed that.
Perfect. Yeah, I was wondering who it was. That was amazing.
Yeah, so Jeff Brantley was a longtime, really good reliever at the major league level. And in fact, I covered him. You know, my first full-time job was as a sports producer in Cincinnati at the Fox affiliate. So part of our job was to go down and get post-game sound. I was really young in this business, was very nervous about asking questions. One day, Jeff Brantley gave up. He came in like in a tie game in the ninth. He was the Reds closer at the time, and he gave up what ended up being the winning home run. And we all just pile around him. We all have microphones in his face, and nobody asked him a question. He goes, is somebody going to ask me a damn question? Because if so, I'll just get up and leave. I was like, okay, that's good. Somebody did. I think the question was it a fastball? I love that stuff. That's my favorite one. Was it a fastball? That's the question. Here I was 23 years old or whatever. I'm nervous, shaking. Guy just calls everybody out. Was it a fastball? That's it. Brantley, by the way, part of one of the great college teams. Went to Mississippi State with Will Clark.
Okay.
Rafael Palmeiro.
Okay.
And do you know the name Bob Tewksbury?
I don't, to be honest.
Okay.
I do not.
Bob Tewksbury was a very, very good, I think a multi-time all-star closer primarily for the Chicago White Sox, who set the single season saves record. I think he had 50... Was it 55 at the time? Something like that. Maybe, Dan, maybe you can look that up real quick. But Tewksbury was a guy in college who played a position, I believe, and then he would come in and close for Mississippi State. Yeah. So that was one of the all-time really good college baseball teams. 4 guys that had impactful major league careers. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. We teach on this show. This is what the old guys do.
I love it. I mean, hand up. I'm a nerd, Rosie, so I love this type of stuff. All the stats and all the numbers. I'm in. I want to learn. I will say, I think my only other big question was, were you the person to ask, is this a fastball?
No, I did not ask the question. I was still too nervous to ask Jeff Brantley a question.
Fair. I can understand why after his response.
Yeah. But I loved it. I loved that he called the media out. That was great. That was really well done. All right, we got a lot more show coming your way, but first, this word from my buddy Trevor Plouffe.
Baseball is here, people. The days are getting longer. The sun is back out, and baseball season is finally upon us. Baseball is a game of inches. The result of a game hinges on 1,000 little moments, and momentum can shift quickly. That's why we decided to team up with Fanatics Markets, the trusted home for real-time sports prediction markets. It's simple. Just pick a game and choose an outcome, like which team will win, which player will hit a home run, and more. It's time to get involved in the action. Then buy contracts based on what you think will happen. Yes, if you think it will. No, if you don't. You can buy as many as you want, sell if the price moves in your favor, or let them settle when the event ends. So from opening day to the Fall Classic, no matter who you root for, Fanatics Markets is right there with you. Join the Baseball Today family on Fanatics Markets. Event contracts carry risk of total loss and changing prices. Not good for all investors. Not available in all states. Must be 21 plus. See important disclosures in Fanatics Markets app. Customers are introduced to Crypto.com by Paragon Global Markets, LLC, DBA Fanatics Markets IB, an introducing broker registered with the CFTC and a member of the NFA.
All right, Plouffe. All right, I got to fix something. I think I accidentally said Bob Tewksbury. I meant Bobby Thigpen. I think that's
Bobby Thigpen. I know Bobby Thigpen.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got my T's screwed up, and I was like, wait, did I say Tewksbury? Because I meant Thigpen. Anyway, it was 57 saves. So everybody in the comments who said, hey, you dumbass, it's not Tewksbury. He was the starter who was like, he had one great year. He finished top 5 Cy Young as a starter for St. Louis, I think. So I misspoke. I meant Thigpen. God. Dummy. That's what happens with this brain sometimes. It gets all over the place. So my fault.
Ditto.
Hope you understand and forgive me. But we were in the right direction. Just wrong house. Time right now for Pack in the Park, where we look at players and storylines that are getting fans into the stadium. It's brought to you by SeatGeek. Look, I can't remember a player having this sort of series on this big a stage against another future Hall of Famer where they went swing for swing because, yes, Aaron Judge did it again. He homered on Thursday afternoon, but he got one-upped by this guy.
There's a rocket. Mike Trout blasts off for the Bronx one more time. Oh, look how far that went.
I hear you, Gooby. Look how far that went. Not a lot of balls get up there in left center field. So Trout homers 5 times in the 4 games. Angels come back and get the series split in a wild back-and-forth series. I know we talked a lot about Trout on the show this week, so I will give you the floor. Just your thoughts in watching him.
So to set the stage, Trout debuted in 2011. I'm in middle school. He wins Rookie of the Year in 2012. Like, he's the first guy, I feel like, when I really started following baseball, to be like the first young stud to start, like I've seen start their career and continue to just become this absolute great Hall of Fame, future Hall of Fame baseball player. Like, if you go back to pre-COVID in 2019, like, he was on pace to be one of the greatest players ever, like in the conversations with the great of the greats, an inner circle Hall of Famer. And he still will be, but like obviously slowed down due to injuries. But baseball is better when Mike Trout is playing. And for him to do this versus the New York Yankees, 5 home runs in the series, outdoing Aaron Judge, who is currently the guy in baseball, either the best or second best hitter in baseball currently. Like, quite frankly, it was so awesome to see Mike Trout have that moment. And I think it was Sarah Langs who had said it. He was the first player to hit 5 home runs or hit a home run in 4 consecutive games at Yankee Stadium in a series. Mm-hmm. First person to ever do that. I was floored when I saw that, Rosie, because Yankees obviously the historic franchise of baseball. But for Mike Trout to accomplish that, to be the first ever to do that, it just shows that Mike Trout is still one of the greatest players. I hope he can stay healthy because baseball is better when he's playing.
And the universal love that he received this week. I mean, people around baseball really paid attention, and you can tell how much respect he has. And we've talked about this. Like, he just is universally loved, it feels like, by fans, by other players. Like Giancarlo Stanton, the guy who's probably going to end up in Cooperstown as well, said, yeah, that was pretty cool. He's like, it sucks that it came against us, but you got to give a guy love when he's doing what he's doing. And Judge, you know, whenever they took the shots of him in right field where he had kind of a little smirk on his face, like, what's he supposed to do? Climb into the stands and steal the ball back? Like, you know what? It's good. The sport needs that sort of appreciation and respect. Both those guys have it pretty much universally between Trout and Judge. And it was just a great back and forth. He also, meaning Mike Trout, with 5 homers in a series against the Yankees. So it doesn't matter where the series was played. Only 3 others have done that. Legendary Jimmy Fox in 1933, Darrell Evans, who was a home run hitter, a great home run hitter for the Tigers. I think he hit over 400 in his career, first baseman, and George Bell, who, of course, is a former league MVP. So, pretty good group. A lot of fun. And now one of the sneaky fun series this weekend happens in Anaheim because the Angels will return home to take on the San Diego Padres, who are playing the best baseball around. They won their 8th straight game last night. They take care of business. They are just 1.5 back of the Dodgers in winning the West, or at least leading the West. And Mason Miller continues to be at it. What do you think he's going to win the Cy Young?
If there's ever let's try that again. If there's ever a reliever to win one in this era of baseball, it's Mason Miller. Like what he is doing on this era of baseball for the San Diego Padres is absurd. He's just striking out every batter he faces, basically. I believe he's given up 1 hit, and that's been to Luis Arraez this season, and Luis Arraez basically just hits anything you throw at him. I don't want to say that's a fluke, but he's going to hit the ball. Everyone else, Mason Miller has basically said, nope, I'm good. I'm just going to strike you out in 3 pitches, and we're just going to move on. The second longest scoreless streak in Padres franchise history. And quite frankly, Rosie, I think the most important thing, I'm a music guy. Blind by Korn as the walkout song. I don't know if you've seen his new walkout. That is awesome. That is so cool. And I'm a Diamondbacks fan. Hand up. The Padres are in my division. Watching him pitch, I don't think I've ever seen a closer be on this type of run in terms of strikeouts and not giving up runs, because this is just pure dominance to the biggest fashion.
9 1/3 innings pitched this year. So that's 28 outs he's recorded. 23 via the strikeout. Last night was the 5th time already this year that he has struck out the side. He's given up 1 walk. I can't remember anything like it. I mean, Eric Gagne is the last reliever to have won the Cy Young, and that was in 2003. And that one, in my opinion, has an asterisk next to it. Before that, it was Hall of Famer Dennis Eckersley, who I believe also won the MVP that year in 92. Have to double check that. Maybe I'll ask Bobby Thigpen to go research that. Or Bob Tewksbury, one of the two. Maybe I'll do that.
Whoever's around.
And Mark Davis ended up winning the Cy Young. He was a reliever for the Padres who did it, I want to say, in 89. But nobody has mowed him down quite like this. And sure, it's going to be hard, but if the Padres stay in this thing, and I'm not talking necessarily about the division because I think that's a big ask against the Dodger monster. But if they make the wild card or they're in it the entire year and he has 0 slumps, because sometimes those closers, they just, they hit a bad track just like anybody. And if he doesn't have it at all, it's going to be hard to vote against that guy. I don't know who dominates a game more than that dude.
Right. I would say, so the closest that I've seen a reliever win a Cy Young since Gagne was, I believe, Britton in one of those years where he was just purely dominant, a sub 0.6 or something along those lines, around the 50 save mark. So if Miller hits those numbers, it's really hard to vote against him. I think the question is do you want to vote for a reliever as a Cy Young? Because now they have the reliever of the year award, the Devin
stop.
Dalton. What? That's a fair thing. It could be a separate award. Starting pitcher, reliever.
Who won the reliever of the year award last year?
Aroldis Chapman and who was in the NL? NL, I don't know off the top of my head.
Right. So that's my point. Hold on. Who won the Cy Young last year?
Scoville and Scanes.
Right. That you just proved my point. Nobody gives a shit about the reliever of the year.
But usually no one, to be fair, Rosie, no one usually gives a crap about relievers. I'm sorry that I have to say it. Usually you have to be the stud of studs, which Mason Miller is, mind you, to to have a conversation like this, to be in the Cy Young. I get it. It's I going out and being a starting pitcher to throw. I guess we're not doing 200 innings anymore, but to put that strain on your arm, I still find that to be the most impressive thing. And that's just me. I think starting pitchers are Cy Young guys.
Okay. I will listen to that argument because I understand it. So it takes something special to break through.
Which Mason Miller could do because he's currently on pace to do it. It has to be absurd.
His K rate has to kind of remain where it is.
Yeah.
By the way, if he ends up giving up 3 hits a month, I'm listening.
Yeah, he should definitely be in the conversation. For sure.
We did get late news early on Friday morning, which sounds oxymoronic, but late news meaning right before the show. Jose Feliciano, who's a private equity billionaire, and his wife Kwanzaa Jones are reportedly going to buy the San Diego Padres for close to $4 billion.
Wow.
$4 billion.
Yeah.
From the Seidler family, which would be a huge relief for Padres fans because, yes, Peter Seidler, prior to his passing, went out and spent. It was his goal to get a championship to the city of San Diego, and unfortunately, his family has somewhat fumbled this since his passing, and they have cut payroll massively. They have still been a really good team. They have still made the playoffs, but there are much more interesting financial parameters with which they're working. When you get a private equity billionaire coming in, but spending almost this is going to be a major league record. Wow.
I was just about to ask, was that a major? Because that's a large number for baseball. Because we know for football franchises, they sell for a larger amount, but I've never heard anything close to 4 for MLB.
Well, I think, didn't Steve Cohen, he was the most recent owner to take over a team. He bought the Mets for 2.4, I want to say.
Yeah, I think it was like sub 3.
6-7 years ago now. I mean, up $1.5 billion. I will say this. If that is true, if this dollar figure is true, then the players in their argument are going to win the court of public opinion because fans are going to say, hold on, in 6 or 7 years, the Padres, who with all respect to them are not the Dodgers, the Mets, the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Cubs in terms of national prominence, price tag, all that sort of stuff. If the Padres are selling for $3.9 billion, then the sport's got to be in an extremely healthy spot.
You know what's funny, Rosie? I think in like this era, I don't want to say this era, but like this decade of baseball, like the Padres are pretty close to that level. Just because, like, in terms of pure enjoyment, like I as a baseball fan, I enjoy watching Padres games. The stadium, which I haven't been out to yet, I would love to go out there. Ryan Cohen, let's go on a trip together. Why not? Petco's awesome. I've heard so many good things about it from Ryan and from other fans who are not even Padres fans saying, yeah, Petco is one of the premier baseball parks in baseball. So you have a great atmosphere. You have a great booth. You have a great team. Like, I know they're not the historic and they don't have that same value, but like in terms of baseball value, they're very good for baseball and it's super fun to watch these games.
I'm not arguing that. It's one of the best atmospheres. We talk about it all the time, how you can't tell in San Diego when the Padres are playing if it's Tuesday night or Saturday night. I think that's the ultimate tip of the cap to the fan base.
Yeah.
It rocks down there. The area around it, awesome. Gaslamp District, great party atmosphere. The team, super fun and exciting. I'm not saying all that.
Right.
What I'm saying is that when it comes to historical context and what people would pay for a franchise, it's not those other teams that I mentioned. And that's okay. Most of the teams are not. My point is that if that team, which doesn't have any World Series crowns to its name, is worth almost $4 billion, then what are some of these other ones? And that's great. It's great. Yeah. It's healthy for the sport. My point is, let's figure this stuff out so that we're actually playing baseball instead of talking about it this time next year. That's all. It's not a shot at San Diego. Believe me, I love it down there.
Yeah, I was just giving a different part of value outside of the financial because, like, it's awesome.
Yeah, but there is no other. There is no other when you're just talking about a price tag.
I know. Which
no owner is going, man, looks fun down there. All they care about is money in, money out.
Money, 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 money.
That's okay. Well, we'll learn more about the new owners of the San Diego Padres coming up. I think that's awesome. I think it's a lot of fun. Cannot wait. Good for them. I hope that AJ Preller wakes up a very happy camper. I can tell you that. I would imagine. Which is great for baseball because that dude at the trade deadline, you never know what he's going to end up doing. He must be stashing prospects on the layaway down there. I guess. That's my guess. Well, this episode sponsored by SeatGeek. Baseball regular season. We're 3+ weeks in. You got the NBA and NHL playoffs now going. The World Cup is coming to North America this summer, and that's why we want to give the sponsor of today's video, SeatGeek, a huge shout out. We're talking about more than 35 million downloads. We're talking about more than 70,000 listed events That makes SeatGeek the #1 rated ticketing app around. Now, each ticket's rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know that you're getting a good deal. All you have to do is look for the color-coded dots. Green dots, thumbs up. They are looking out for you. Red dots, And you might even look for your favorite NBA team. Want to go to a playoff game? Yeah, I'm going to, open the wall a little bit. I'm going to get seats close to the floor, and you'll see a red dot and say, how the heck could this be a bad deal? Because it's not the best deal dollar for dollar for you, and that's why SeatGeek loves you. And here's another reason we love you. I want to give you a code. Baseball 2026. You're going to get 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That is 10% off any tickets with the promo code Baseball 2026. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. We'll see you at a game sometime in the near future. Certainly hope. All right, some good news for Houston. They won a series against Colorado. The bad news is more than half of their starting rotation is currently on the shelf. That includes Tatsuya Imai, who is dealing with arm soreness. Sounds like maybe he's getting a little bit better. But Chandler Rome of The Athletic, we didn't have time to talk about this earlier this week. He wrote a column about the Japanese star admitting that he is having a tough time physically and emotionally adjusting to Major League Baseball and just life here in the States. And I want you to listen to a conversation he had yesterday prior to the Astros game.
You reached out to any other Japanese pitchers or players that have come over for advice, and maybe what is the best advice that you've gotten if you have reached out?
No, because I don't have any friends, so.
I wanted to cry when I heard that. That was the voice of his translator. Did that make you sad?
Yeah, like I like my suggestion would have been like for him to try and like figure the best way to like adapt to MLB and the United States lifestyle is to talk to people who've done the same experience that he has from going from Japan and NPB to MLB. But that's really sad, Rosie. I mean, I hope things can be figured out for Imai because he can be a very good pitcher, but more importantly, I hope he can adjust to a healthy lifestyle in the United States and find people that he could be friendly with and call family here.
This is tough. When we talk about this a lot on the show, when guys have trouble adjusting, like just think about it. Even though he's 27 and he's been a professional over in Japan a long time, I don't care how old you are, and the good news is that particularly I would say over the last 5 to 10 years, like we have as a society become much more embracing when people talk about mental health. Like for years and years and years, that was such a sign of weakness. Who knows what this guy's going through? We don't know. I don't know anything about his background. I saw a couple of podcast clips with him,
Yeah.
and that was about it. So I don't know a damn thing. I barely watched the guy pitch. But there's obviously something going on here. Now, when he signed with Houston, it was a little eyebrow raising from this standpoint. They had never signed a player directly from Japan before. They had guys who had played on other teams here in the States that came through the Astros organization. So they weren't equipped necessarily to have had the experience of how do we make somebody feel comfortable in this country right out of the gate. And I'm not blaming the Astros at all. I'm just saying they don't have the experience. So that's okay. The other thing is that Houston does not have an enormous Japanese population. It just isn't. It's not Los Angeles. It is not Seattle. So who knows what he's missing most? Who knows? It's just sad that he doesn't have anybody to kind of help him guide through this situation. Some people say, well, Jesus, he's 27 years old. He's a man. He should just figure it out. I don't know, dude. I'm going to drop you off in Japan, see how you do.
Rosie, and to that point, I'm also 27 years old. If I was in Japan, if I went from the United States to Japan, I would have a tough time adjustment. And that's not even me being a baseball player, an athlete who's on the biggest stage in the MLB, like Imai is. It's heartbreaking to hear it. And I hope that the Astros can find a way to help Imai as best they can, and for him to find whatever gives him joy and happiness and just to succeed here, because we've seen so many great Japanese baseball players in the MLB be able to make the transition that in the baseball component of the game, but would like to see Imai also join that both on the field and off the field.
I did see that during spring training that Ryan Weiss, who had to go over to Korea to find some success and then came back as a pitcher with the Astros, he actually set up a dinner with Imai. And I know that Burrows was a part of that dinner and one or two other players, just to kind of say, hey, what do you want to do? How can I help? Because Weiss said, I know what it's like to be on the other side of this, and it can be really lonely. So that's a great move. Who knows how much of that is continued now that they're into the regular season? But guys have their lives too. It's not always incumbent on the teammates to take care of this. That's why it's really important that you have an infrastructure and a plan in place when you are going to have guys from other countries, because not all of them are going to be able to adjust. And if you're going to sink in, how much money was it that they ended up paying him?
3 for $54.
3 for $54. You know what? I'm going to damn well better make sure that with that investment, if you just want to look at it as a financial investment and not an investment in a human being, which is the way you should look at it, in my opinion, I'll make sure that we got everything dotted and crossed when it comes to this.
Hopefully, physically, he's okay with the arm fatigue, but more importantly, hopefully everything else mentally and emotionally also Imai heals and gets well.
Yeah. And he's got to be better, right? I mean, this is what he does. He wants to be an excellent pitcher. He hasn't even made it to the 9-inning mark yet as a major leaguer. So, and that's in 3 starts. Hopefully we see him out there again soon.
Yep.
Hopefully he can find a way. I hope this isn't a one and done where he says, I got to get out of this. And who knows what the financial implications are of some sort of decision like that down the road. But it wouldn't shock me if that happens either. I'm not rooting for it to happen. I want to see this guy find, whether it's success on the field, at least success to navigating this lifestyle. But
couldn't say it any better, Rosie. Couldn't say it any better. Well said.
Yeah. So there you go. Rooting for him. Big day. Got to tell you, personally. You remember last summer, I was gone for about a month. That's because I was off shooting the remake of American Gladiators, which is out now on Prime Video. For those of you that don't remember the brainchild of the late 80s, early to mid 90s show, we definitely pay homage to the OG version of it. Here's just a little taste.
For the first time in nearly 2 decades, American Gladiators is back. I'm the one, remember my name. Neon doing a great job stopping him, working him side to side. Neon not letting up. Oh, loses his balance. Down goes the contender. And he makes a break right. Oh no, he gets leveled and dropped by Neon.
I bring the glow, I bring the show, and I bring that KO.
Yeah, that was obviously a little clip that I took off of Neon's social media. So there's the picture. That's pretty much the reaction. Those of you that are fans of the Warehouse, that's pretty much the way I look when I'm calling floorball too.
Rosie, when you told us that you were going to do this, I was excited to see you compete. So I'm a little baffled to see you're calling it. Can you explain?
Yeah, well, you can watch the first 3 episodes. It's out on Prime Video, and I appreciate your support. Once you see the way that, A, the gladiators are built, and B, the way the contenders look, you will understand, because you've probably seen me without my shirt several times on Floorball over the years, that, yeah, Rosie should just stay with the headset on and not try and get in there. It's quite an athletic endeavor. There are real-life injuries to this game. It is a sporting event. People are competing for 6-figure prizes. But it's fun. There's the classic games, if you watched it back then. There's new games that we introduce, including one that's about 150 feet in the air, which gave me heart palpitations to call. So it was fun. I hope you enjoy the experience, and we'd love to be able to do it again. So thank you. That's what
I'm excited to watch, Rosie. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah, it's good. Like I said, the first 3 episodes drop, and I think there's 10 episodes per season, and there's 2 seasons. So we'll see how it goes. We'll keep our fingers crossed on that one. Hey, next week is going to be a big one on Baseball Today, because we've got some news that is happening on Tuesday. So I know for those of you that are daily viewers and consumers of the show, we always appreciate it. Tuesday, we've got a big announcement coming up as well. I think it's Tuesday, is it not? Dan, is it Tuesday or is it Monday? Okay, Tuesday it is. Thank you. Can't wait for that. All right, dude. This is always a lot of fun. I appreciate you filling in. You're a great baseball brain. Keep chugging along, doing that awesome research that you do for talking baseball, and then we sometimes dip into, cheat off. We look at our classmates' paper, maybe occasionally for some stuff, and have a really good weekend. And your Diamondbacks are hanging in there.
Hanging in there, Rosie. I appreciate it. So baseball season's always a grind, but it's a fun grind. I always love doing it, and I appreciate hopping on for either you or Trev when you guys need it. So much love, and to shout out to everybody listening. We really appreciate you guys, and thank you so much.
Absolutely. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, the uber-talented Dalton Feely, I am Chris Rose. Have a great sporting weekend. We will see you on Monday here on Baseball Today, presented to you by T-Mobile.